These are tough questions, right? You want to start with the toughest one?
Well, let's go through, and how long a response are you expecting?
30, 40 seconds.
Okay.
And we don't necessarily have to stick to those questions. That was really just to give you...
Well, we can, let's just start with one and see what happens.
What is the first question?
In the 80s, BV seems around the corner, moving from a day-to-day concern to mere survival to excellent in distinctiveness.
And the question is
For you, what is the most exciting dimension of this change?
yeah, what is that? I mean,
Well,
we've seen BV kind of searching for itself. What has been the most exciting part of that?
well, I think any time, be it a college or any other entity, going from where you're concerned about day-to-day operations to make certain that the doors are going to be open, that you're going to be there tomorrow, you can remove that concern and focus on what you're there for. That's to educate students. That's a big, big plus, because all that time and energy and monies are going to go directly to the students. It's going to benefit them, having better qualified professors, better facilities. Once you round that corner, it's nothing but a win-win for everybody involved, be it the school or be it the students.
Now, let me ask this question, because you were a student. You went to BV, and you know kind of what it's about. There is this hope, and it's the hope that the entire college was founded on when it started in 1891. That's been kind of renewed now, that Buena Vista College is not simply providing students with skills, but that there's something more to that. A couple people have talked about this value-oriented education, this kind of whole education, this education that prepares you to go out and make all kinds of tough decisions in life and solve difficult problems, no matter where you encounter those. Do you think that that's partly where the future of the college is, that we're going to be able to do that better and better?
Yeah, obviously an integral part of any higher education is one getting as much as he can or she can out of his or her professional interest. Be it an accountant, you want to get as much information you can with respect to the accounting field. However, that atmosphere, that size of the college allows you to expand steps beyond that. The social gatherings, the meetings of different people, the opportunity to visit with the professors, not necessarily with respect to the classes themselves, but with respect to their challenges that they foresee with respect to the future. That size, that intimacy of the college allows you to focus not only on the educational aspects, but all the other aspects that one needs to be the word well-rounded individual. Those opportunities are there at Buena Vista College.
One of the questions I had dealt with kind of how do you think Buena Vista College is going to make its own distinctive mark? But in talking to other people, I think that's what we're a little tighter. The question isn't so much tilt up when you do that. The question is, what is it going to take to find that distinctiveness? I mean, you sit on the board of trustees. You know that we're about making some very tough choices now. Talk about the budget. It hasn't gotten easier. But what is it that's going to take to get us there? I think Keith talks about finding our soul or finding some kind of unity. What do you think it is?
That's a difficult question, and I don't know if there is a right or wrong answer with respect to such, but I think that we've got to focus just as much on as to where we have come from to what we are at this point in time. Buena Vista is Buena Vista, whatever that means. Let's try and keep it in that mind sync. Don't change it. Buena Vista has found a niche in Northwest Iowa. There's a definite need for it. It's been very, very successful in all of these 100 years. Obviously, to survive these 100 years, it has to be successful. I think maybe we have found it, and maybe we don't recognize it, but But what we are, just continue to refine or redefine it. Let's don't go out and reinvent the wheel, because you have the genesis of something good. Just rework it.
So in a sense, our future is very much in our past.
Exactly.
One of the other things is that when you look at the past, you see these incredible stories of sacrifice, of determination, of this selflessness that knows no bounds. And just because we've kind of had a decade of process. I was talking about looking into our past. We see this incredible sacrifice. There's a lot of people seem to think that Buena Vista College is riding the gravy train right now. And if you look at kind of where we've come in the last 20 years or so, maybe we are. But that doesn't mean that the next 100 years is going to be without its challenges and its sacrifices. And in fact, maybe there's going to be more demanded of people.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's, again, it's those sacrifices or that willingness or the determination has brought us to where we are. And if anything, there's going to have to be more of that to take us to the next decades, because I think the challenges are going to be even greater than we had experienced. And I don't feel that Buena Vista has been on a gravy train, so to speak. They've had some very fortunate positive things happen to it, and they've taken those positive things, though, and generated them into even a stronger future for the school. And whenever those opportunities present themselves again, they've got to treat that in the same manner, the same focus as they did in the past. But I think some of the harder work or harder tasks are ahead of us at this point in time. The unknown is just that, and you got to be prepared to meet whatever those challenges are out there. And in my estimation or guesstimation, they're going to be far greater than you've experienced in the past.
One of the things that Denny Young and I talked about yesterday that he brought up, and I think it has to do with this question about the atmosphere. There's this aura.
A stronger future for the school. And whenever those opportunities present themselves again, they've got to treat that in the same manner, the same focus as they did in the past. But I think some of the harder work or harder tasks are ahead of us at this point in time. The unknown is just that, and you got to be prepared to meet whatever those challenges are out there. And in my estimation or guesstimation, they're going to be far greater than you've experienced in the past.
One of the things that Denny Young and I talked about yesterday that he brought up, and I think it has to do with this question about the atmosphere. There is this aura on campus, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that people now, faculty who for so long had to think in these very limited terms and be very inventive with very little, have now the doors open, and now everybody knows that the impossible is possible. And that brings with it a lot of excitement, brings with a certain kind of challenge, because you realize also that you can't do everything. You can only do some things really well. And part of the challenge is maybe focusing that energy and directing it in one way.
You talked about the aura of BV, and again, that's like going out and trying to grab a ghost and put it into a bag as far as describing it. But there is that feeling. There's definitely a small town atmosphere there, which I find very comforting. But at the same time, there is big town qualities within the campus. And in my estimation, the school has been able to blend those two so they are very, very compatible with each other, be it through the ACES programs or any other type of program such as that. You've been able to bring the outside world, if you will, into the small town atmosphere, and this creates nothing but a win-win for anybody who lives there or for anybody who goes to school there. You have the best of everything right there, and we are finding now that there's that migration coming back to to the smaller communities. Case in point, look at New York City with their relocations, what they're doing with big businesses. They are taking them to the smaller areas of the Midwest or other aspects of the country so they can have the kind of living that can go along with the positive jobs.
Being associated for a long time as you have been with KCCI, who also has a tremendous reputation for excellence and quality and kind of being on top, being kind of out above the others in a lot of ways. You know that there are some challenges in being in that type of position, that brings with it its own kind of difficulties. Do you see Buena Vista in kind of a similar situation?
Yeah, we talked about earlier that BV is in a very positive position right now. I think in a lot of respects it's harder to maintain being a positive position or the top of the heap, if you will, or being in a number one position than it is being a number two, because there's more and more people that are going to be shooting at you, or more and more people challenge you to dethrone you from that position. And the same thing is with BV. There's a great opportunity there. The facilities are second to none. But again, there's going to be more and more people coming after the Buena Vistas or the KCCIs because we are at the pinnacle at this point in time. And as I indicated, that there's more and more people out there trying to remove us from that position. And that's hard. Sometimes it's easier to be in a number two position. You can take more gambles, and if they fail, they're going to be less noticeable, versus if you are there and take a gamble and fail, that presents front page news.
You also learned that you also expect more of yourself too, don't you? Continually, and that's a self-pride. I mean, it's a it's a self-pride thing. It's a challenge. We all like challenges, whether we admit it or not. But we all like challenges, and on the other hand, though, it creates a lot of concern. It creates a lot of worries. It creates butterflies in one's stomach. But I've always been told that the day you stop having butterflies is the day you should consider getting out of the business. But it's great to have butterflies as long as you just keep those flying in formation. You're going to be okay. But once you don't have those, or they're out of formation, then you get some other concerns. In a way, that's Dennis Young said almost the same kind of thing. He talked about this kind of this sense of urgency, that there's this atmosphere in everybody at BV that you got to do big things and you got to do them now, and there's so much more to be done. And that's, in a way, what you're talking about, these kind of butterflies that drive where we're going and what's happening. What do you think is the most important thing that Buena Vista College offers a student? To continue to be what we have been these past 100 years. Again, going back to what I said earlier, Buena Vista obviously has found a very positive niche in Northwest Iowa. Don't change that. Continue to better that. Strive for higher excellence with that in mind, but don't change BV. When I was up to the school last February, when they came in for the evaluation team came in. I had the opportunity to speak to a gentleman from Chicago, and in essence, he said the same thing. There's something very, very special about Buena Vista College, and there's an identity with Buena Vista College, and it's important that you continue or to refine that specialness or that identity. Don't change that process. Again, just make it sharper, if you will, but don't try to be something that BV isn't or that BV shouldn't be. It's found its niche. I don't think there's any argument in that at all. If it hadn't, it wouldn't be there for
all over these years. So, take that substance and just make that better.
As someone who lives and works in Des Moines, have a lot of contact with a lot of other people throughout the state, do you sense, are there other people in the state, in the region, that kind of look to Buena Vista College for leadership?
I think even more so because, well, back in was in the early '80s when the grant or the gift was given to Buena Vista College. That only not propelled us recognition-wise in the state, but within the United States. That was news throughout the U.S. That was a very important factor, but just as important is what Buena Vista did with that gift. They have taken that and really generated it into making BV that much better without changing, at least in my estimation, without changing the purpose or the identity of the college. They were able to add some great facilities, and they've brought additional staff, upgraded the classroom facilities, and all the other physical aspects that go along with it. But I think they have done that also, Paul, without destroying what Buena Vista is. And that whole process, at least I know from Central Iowa, has made Buena Vista more of identifiable college than it had been when I was able to go to the school. It still is a Northwest school, but it's a Northwest school that has a positive identification in Central Iowa.
You grew up in the Storm Lake area.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that there's a sense of the college by the lake. There's Buena Vista is so deeply ingrained in what Storm Lake is all about, in that whole community. Is that something you think is positive and will continue to grow?
Oh, absolutely. We all reflect back on memories or things as we were children or even going to college. And my fondest memories to this day are going to Buena Vista up in the fall when there's a football game and there's a chill in the air, but it's just a freshness about it that you just cannot capture any other place. It's if you talk about escapisms, that's one of the greatest places to go, just to really reflect and to relax, and it removes you from, at least it does me, from all the other concerns that presently confront you. It takes me back to when I was growing up as a child, coming in on a fall afternoon and coming home from school. My mom would be baking bread and washing or ironing clothes. There was always that aroma that it still sticks in my mind, and I feel the same way when I talk about Buena Vista with going up there in the fall, that cool breeze coming in off the lake. There's a cleanliness about that whole process. It's really something you had to be there to capture, but once you do capture it, you never ever forget it.
I think that's one of the best things about the college, why my wife and I like it so much, is that it is in a way what the Midwest is all about.
You don't feel threatened. You don't feel threatened at all. It's an area that you can just totally relax and just capture or be open to everything around you and not be afraid. You can really let your guard down.
And that's exactly what we're trying to get students to do, so we can.
And there's very few places that allow you to do that. Competition is the buzzword this day and age, but that atmosphere that you're able to generate up there, and I don't know how you do this, but the atmosphere you generate up there is one of, again, just of total relaxation and a comfort zone. My favorite times are when I am able to go back up to the school, meet people that I have not met before, walk through the halls, go to a classroom that I was never able to participate in, but just sit there and relax and reflect and sit there with a lot of envy for the people that are currently there, because that is the best part of his or her life.
Is there anything else you want to say about the college and its future?
Continue what they have done. Let your past be your future to a certain extent, or a guide. There's been some question with respect to tradition. Whether it should be changed or re-examine it. Don't change tradition. Leave that as is, and there's no need to change tradition, but build upon that for the future. Tradition is a very important aspect of, be it of a college life or one's own personal life. And as BV has developed a very positive tradition, obviously they've done an awful lot of right things to get where they are, and continue to focus on that. And again, don't try to make Buena Vista something that it isn't. There's only one BV, and there only should be one BV. And let's preserve the one Buena Vista College that we do have. Don't make it something else, because it doesn't need to be anything else.
One last thing. Could you look right at the camera and say, happy 100th or centennial birthday, Buena Vista College?
Happy 100th birthday to Buena Vista College.
Good. We're having everybody do that. That's it? Unless you want to say anything else? Thank you. That was, as usual.
I hear about trying to make BV something else.
There.
I'll tell you what bothers me. I continue to hear us being compared to a Grinnell, or wanting to be like a Grinnell. The state has a Grinnell.
Yeah.
We don't need another Grinnell. We have a Buena Vista. Let's continue just to redefine and rehone in that part.
We're because the fact that we're pretty heavy into a reassessment of our whole curriculum and then looking at that, and that's one of the key questions that come up. And I think that you're right. And to me, the challenge. There are these poles. There is the classic liberal arts, which is what Grinnell does, and there is modern professional career orientation.